Hi, Kathy. How we doing? It is a pretty beautiful spring day here in Vermont. Just sitting out on my porch. Not up at the land, just at home. The boys are doing good. Enjoying the catio life. Everything's good. But I made a little laundry list of things to talk about today. I hope everyone's doing well. I'll give it a couple minutes before everyone joins. I've been cooking up at the land. I've just been going up there as much as I can. I didn't really go up much this winter because it was hard to get any projects done. I didn't have demo work to do. So in doing so, I recorded 2 episodes in January, 2 in February, 1 in March. And so with that being said, if I want to be able to put out an episode per week, in theory, I need to shoot 4 episodes each month. So the month of April, I shot 7 to kind of make up for the lack of content that was captured in the wintertime. I've got some travel slated this month, 2 trips to Europe for work to shoot rallycross with Connor, which will be awesome. We're going to Sweden twice. I've been to Sweden once before, 2 years ago. It's such a great country, so I'm looking forward to that. But with that being said, I'm just trying to use the free time I have available to really just be up at the land, not just to be up there to make videos, but just to get stuff done. And springtime, it's a small window for certain things I need to do, such as planting fruit trees and just other stuff where you have to do it either at the beginning of spring or the end of fall, mostly plant related stuff. But I think I mentioned last week I ordered some trees from Stark Brothers Nursery online, which I also found out if your trees don't end up taking root or dying, they'll refund you or send you new trees. So I'm looking forward to that, even though we'll hope we don't have to rely on that. Hopefully the trees take root and get settled in. I'm gonna have to put fencing around them so the deer don't nibble on the buds and don't kill the apple trees. But they're supposed to get delivered tomorrow, so ideally I will bring them up on Saturday and transplant them. What happened to my knuckles? I just scraped them on actually a big bin of kitty litter yesterday when I was pulling it out of my car. Nothing serious. It's inevitable. Ironically, it wasn't from doing work on the land. But it's been awesome. I've just been having a lot of fun up there. It's so nice to not be burdened with the task of cleanup. OCD is kind of in my nature. I'm not an actual OCD person, but I love cleanliness and organization. And last year, it's just I couldn't go up to the land and truly enjoy myself. I had a couple days with my friends where we rode dirt bikes and whatnot, but there was always work to be done. And it's wild to look back on. Honestly, part of me forgets all the work I did, even especially the pole barn, like the first demolition project I tackled, which, I mean, you guys, I would say 99% of you have seen all the episodes. There was so much stuff just frozen into the ground and broken glass and just nonstop trash. And it's such a relief and a weight off my shoulders to not be burdened by that. So I'm happy. I've got a lot of fun projects on the way. The side-by-side has been such a killer investment. I know my original plan was to get a tractor, but honestly, I think I'm happier with the side-by-side. There's certain projects I want to tackle where it would be nice to have a bucket or a backhoe, but even just like the speed of the side-by-side, like zooming to the back of the field or down to the creek, or I forget a camera battery and I need to cruise back up to the trailer, it's so quick and easy, and it's fun. So you can't really complain about that. And I believe on last week's live, I mentioned that there's a possibility we're going to ride dirt bikes to the abandoned asbestos mine this past weekend. Well, I got up to the land on Saturday, and a couple of my neighbors were working on fixing the road because mud season in Vermont's no joke. We just get freeze, thaw, and then the big spring melt when all the snow melts and the roads just turn into mud fests. Like, people don't even realize if you don't have a lifted car, you can get easily stuck, or if you just don't know how to drive in the mud. But my neighbors were working on fixing up the road, and Don, who has been in past episodes helping me cut up the elm tree, he's got a side-by-side, and so does my neighbor Chad, and we all ponied up and went for a ride. It was sweet. I had my buddy Wyatt and Grim Nicholas in the side-by-side because it's a 4-seater, and we went to the asbestos mine, and boy, I tell you, the terrain that a side-by-side can handle is mind-blowing. Mine's more of a utility one. It's not like a hardcore trail or super fast one, but we were going, like, the first mud hole we went through was next to a beaver swamp, and it must have been 4 feet deep, and I just gunned it through it, and we got halfway through and started to get stuck in the mud, and my butthole puckered. I was like, oh, we are gonna get stuck in this pit. Luckily, my neighbors' side-by-sides have winches, so they would have been able to pull me out, but I just gunned it and got through it, and it was mud hole after mud hole, crawling over rocks, all kinds of stuff. And luckily there's a skid plate on the underside of the UTV, because we were just landing on huge boulders, like the type of shit where if you do it in your car, you're just like, oh, you feel that when you hit a big pothole or something and you just hear that noise. But it was awesome. We did about a 4 to 5 hour ride. I just love side-by-sides. You're cruising with your friends, you pull off in the woods, you drink a beer or hang out for a little bit, and you keep going. And we made our way to the top of the asbestos mine, and I've explored the asbestos mine. I've camped there. The lower part of the facility has old buildings and the processing plant, but I had never been to the top of the mountain where they had a second quarry that they extracted the stone, because asbestos is a stone, and well, it comes from a stone and they extract fibers from it. And it was just wild. It's so otherworldly. And there was a couple huge tailing piles of the leftover rock after the asbestos has been extracted. And there's hill climbs that were, I mean, I don't know degrees. I'm not going to spit out a degree and sound like an idiot, but they were almost vertical. And you could see tracks from side-by-sides that went up it. Granted, those are probably extremely expensive side-by-sides and people that had some beers in them, but it's crazy to see what they can do. And it was by far and away probably one of the best days at the land, just bonding with my neighbors and exploring around my property and the general area. Like when I was in Missouri a month ago for the 100-acre wood rally with Connor, we stayed on a 2,000-acre ranch in the Mark Twain State Forest, and the trails we rode there were exceptional. And it made me think, when I do get a side-by-side, because I didn't have one at the time, I doubt there'll be trails of this degree of fun and extensiveness in Vermont. And I was totally surprised this weekend, and it just it tickled me. It was so awesome. And just bringing my friends around. The 4-seater aspect is so cool. I'm glad I got the 4-seater instead of finding a 2-seater one. Of course, it doesn't have a big bed. It's just got a storage compartment on back, but I bought a little tow behind plastic carrier that can hold about 650 pounds worth of material. And that's pretty much covering the lack of having a bed on the side-by-side. Just a quick pause. Jake Alden, $20 donation. Enjoy the videos. Keep up the good work. Jake, I greatly appreciate you, my friend. And yeah, appreciate your donation. So that's cool. I'm super stoked. The side-by-side got plastered in mud and it was super dirty. And that was one thing I realized. I don't really have a way to clean my dirt bikes or my side-by-side up there because I don't have a hose. Sorry, quick pause. People are asking, where am I right now? I'm at my house in suburbia of Vermont. Well, the house I share with my father. I do pay rent, though. I'm not a little bum. It's actually pretty nice here. We're in a big development, but we have a creek behind us. So, yeah, it is gloomy here today. It was super sunny this morning and so beautiful. I was supposed to shoot a real estate video, but the clouds rolled in, so I had to postpone that. But this creek down here is really cool. Before I bought the land, I set up trail cameras down there. Sorry, I'm so shaky. And I captured a bobcat down there. I captured deer. There's beaver making a dam. It was kind of a fun introduction for me into trail cameras. And it was just, it gave me hope because this town that I live in is definitely becoming massively developed because of its proximity to Burlington, the biggest city in Vermont. And just to know that animals are still surviving even after all their habitats are getting taken. Oh, you can hear the F-35s, guys. The Green Mountain Boys are flying every day, twice a day. F-35s, big topic of debate here in Vermont. It was huge argument between Vermonters before they started flying them every day because people that live in proximity to the airport that have animals or the noise pollution. I don't really know how I feel about it. It doesn't bother me. I'm used to it. The cats aren't bothered by it. That's just America. It's the military-industrial complex, as you'd have it. But yeah, it's just beautiful here. It's nice that we have a creek in the backyard here, and then I have a creek up at the land. And water is life to me, so I love that. But anyway, back to the side-by-side and cleaning it. DeWalt has a 20-volt portable pressure washer. So it comes with a hose, and you can just put the hose in any source of water, and it'll suck that up, and then you can obviously pressure wash stuff. I'm a big review guy, though. I don't invest in something or buy tools without doing my research. And I was a little disappointed. Oh, look. America! Yeah, we're crazy over here. F-35s are nuts. But I read reviews on the 20 volt and they're pretty lackluster. Everyone just stated that it didn't really have enough power. I mean, if you use a normal pressure washer, you know how strong they are. Oh. Seeing those planes puts in perspective for me, to a small degree, how gnarly warfare is. Like, I can't imagine being on the receiving side of being in a foreign country and seeing a plane like that flying over to just unleash terror. The United States is crazy. I'm not a pro-war person. I'm just saying the thought of those things rolling through is terrifying. I feel bad for anyone that has to receive that treatment. But long story short, Kathy said, you need to see if DeWalt will pay you to be a spokesperson. Yeah, I will in time. I haven't reached out to them. I know a couple of our viewers have sent them emails about me. DeWalt's such a big company that a lot of that probably gets lost in the corporate email. Like, all that stuff's handled by AI until you get to the top tier of people that actually handle marketing. But I think in time, if I continue to do what I do and endorse the products that I truly do like, because one thing I can promise you is, I may find sponsorships or brand endorsements down the road, but I will never, ever back a product that I don't use and believe in, regardless of how much money's behind it or what the circumstances are. But DeWalt just released a 60-volt version of the pressure washer, the portable pressure washer, and it's up to 1,000 PSI. And so I looked online. They're not in many stores yet, but my local Home Depot had 2 of them, so I went there yesterday and I bought one. And I am beyond excited to go up to the land tomorrow. I think I did show in one of the past episodes where the frog pond is behind the storage container. There is a natural wellspring that Richard had implemented, and it has wood framing around it. And the other day I did a depth check with a downed tree, and it was 8 to 10 feet deep. So there's a pretty strong supply of water available to me. So the goal tomorrow is to go up to the land, pull the side-by-side out, drop the hose into that well, which is probably not more than 10 feet from the storage container, and the hose on the pressure washer is 20 feet long. 0105 Jonesy, $20 donation. Thank you so much. That's so gracious. I don't even ask for donations, but this is America. Shy mouth won't get fed. If anyone wants to donate money, it'll get used in a good manner, whether it's cat food or supplies for the land. So I do appreciate all you guys. I know everyone spends their time, which is the most valuable commodity, to make money, and it's not lost on me that you would bless me with a donation. So I greatly appreciate you guys. But yeah, I'm going to go up tomorrow. I'm going to clean the side-by-side, which would be super satisfying. And I'll have a way to clean my dirt bike. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm hoping the tool delivers and works as well as I'm expecting. So I'm going to go up to the land and do that tomorrow. I also was digging around on Facebook Marketplace looking for industrial-style shelving, because my storage container has gotten to the point where I've crammed so much stuff in there in so many different places. I've kind of lost track of where everything is. Specifically spray paint, lube, brake cleaner, nails, all these things. And I found some pretty beat up old metal shelves that have the cubby boxes that slide in. And and I'm gonna try and buy those. Hopefully they fit in the back of the Ranger, and if they're real, they look pretty beat up from the marketplace ad, but if I feel like it's worth doing, I'm gonna angle grind them and give them a fresh paint job. And if it's not really worth doing, I'm gonna reorganize the storage container and put those inside and just kind of get everything in a neat and organized fashion, so when I need something, I know exactly where it is, because as I said before, organization is key. Someone commented, I love the audio you had on your recent Instagram reel. So wanting to be in your shoes one day. That was from Andrea M. Yeah, I love Alan Watts. I think sometimes people see my videos and they think it's me talking. That's not me. He's like a philosopher from the 70s and 80s, the grassroots hippie era, and just a very insightful person, and a lot of his words ring true to me. So I love pairing beautiful visuals and things that are relevant to my life or that I'm doing with great audio. That's why I like making videos. So yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed that, and it was nice because I was able to show what's going on right now at the land. Almost everything I post is backlogged. I mean, the shorts are usually up to date because it's mostly the cats, but in the past I really haven't shared much work that's going on at present time. But if you go and watch my short, if you haven't seen it, it shows some stuff I've been working on. I started working on the Stone Island again, or the Tree Island, which I highlighted a couple episodes ago. When Nick Hella and I first attacked that project, which was actually on the day after Christmas last year, which is when I rescued Ernie, all the rocks were frozen into the ground. So we were like digging through deep snow and ice to just pull rocks out and start to build a wall. And the other day it was just such a relief. All the snow's gone, the frost is gone, and there's so many rocks there. It's pretty evident that the original farmers before Richard cleared that field of all the rocks and pushed them into that one spot. It's also an area that collects water. It seems like most of the water in the field drains into that area and underneath those boulders. So I just started moving small rocks and building the walls up bigger, and then once I can get Mark to the land, I'm going to have him try and scooch the larger boulders out and help build the wall with that, and then eventually get a load of gravel in to level the interior center circle of the Tree Island, so that I can build a fire pit and put some Adirondack chairs there and kind of have a secret fire pit zone that's halfway between the river woods and the trailer, which I'm super excited for. It's not high priority for me, but I've found it's been nice with all the demo work done. I can kind of just bounce around on projects and follow my heart as to what seems fun and also physically demanding, because I mean, I'm trying to get into the gym more and work out and build muscle, so when I get older, I'm not a frail little shit rat. But there's nothing better than active physical activity where you're doing something you enjoy and you're also conditioning your body. And picking up boulders and rocks and stacking them and moving them is definitely arduous work. You'll also see in that short, I cleared the river zone very well. I leaf blew so that the leaves aren't covering the soft, loamy earth. So when it rains, it'll dry out much quicker. When I first leaf blew it, I kind of regretted it because it looked like shit. But as soon as it dried up, it looked very nice, and the ground's so soft. And now I have a better vision of the stumps that I cut in the winter. So I can cut them as flush to the ground as possible, because ideally, when we're camping down there this summer, I'll just be barefoot bandit, walking around, grounding to the earth and getting my energy right. So that's great. I got some wood blades for my angle grinder, which are super cool. Angle grinders are such cool tools. I also got a big face mask too, because I've heard horror stories of cut off blades breaking off angle grinders and getting wedged into people's faces or taking an eye out, and that's a worst case scenario for me. So I got a nice full face mask that goes down, but I have these etched, or like they've got notches in them, these wood blades, and there's a big down tree right down from the main water hole at the river landing, and I cleared like the lower limbs off it that were hanging, and then I used the angle grinder and I started just carving out nice cuts that will fit people's butts, because hey, what's better than having a pop or a beer sitting in a nice, kind of like one of those old school tractor seats. Like, they're just so perfectly formed for your ass That's what I want, just a nice comfortable seat. So I cut 2 of them out. They need to be dug deeper, but it was a great start, and they're already more comfortable than the angle it was originally at, because the tree's at a little bit of a pitch. So by cutting into them, I'm making it so it's level and you can sit nice and cozy there. I was cutting other trees down, and I made a big no-no, and it was so avoidable. There's been too many times in my life where I think of something like, I'm prone to thinking about the worst case scenario. I think it's because I'm hypervigilant and I'm trying to either be prepared for the worst case scenario or prevent the worst case scenario. And unfortunately, my laziness, I'm trying to work and I'm trying to film because I want to capture all this stuff the best I can for you guys. And I set my photo camera up, which I shoot all the time lapses with, on my tripod across the river. And when I cut one of the trees down, it wasn't fully cut through. And when I fully cut it through, it tipped at an angle. And one of the branches at the end hit my tripod and it knocked my camera over. If you see this lens hood, like most camera lenses have lens hoods that you can twist off and it wouldn't be an issue. But this lens, because it's such a wide angle lens and it has sort of a fisheye element with the lens, it's fixed on here. And I got so damn lucky. The camera fell and hit this and didn't hit the lens. Oh, I nearly had a heart attack. I ran through the river and across to get it. But, I think just to go back to the donations thing, like I know there's a lot of homesteading channels on YouTube, but I can almost guarantee there aren't any that are using the cameras with the quality I have. And this lens right here was $2,400. So just know that, I would invest in this regardless because of my job, because I'd never feel bad about buying camera equipment because I know I'll make money back with it. But I almost took one for the team with this baby and lost my brand new lens, which was on back order and I waited 3 months for. So deep sigh of relief to know that it's still good. I might send it in to get this repaired, but it's not high priority for me right now. Jack asked, is it a 5D Mark IV? It is a Canon R5. I shot on the 5D Mark IV for about 6 years, and then I was reluctant to upgrade to mirrorless, but I did, and I would never look back. Like, the autofocus on these mirrorless cameras is so snappy, and they're just so incredibly powerful. I do miss my 5D because it was a little more robust, but you use your new camera for a week and you completely forget about how your old camera felt. So this is definitely my baby. This is what I take all those cool underwater shots with, and this lens is 5 millimeters wider than my widest lens I had before. So when I do underwater photography, I have a big plastic housing that's roughly $3,000. Gotta pay to play if you want to protect equipment like this. And it has a dome over it, and I can get those cool half above, half below the water shots. And with this lens, it's gonna take it to the next level because it's 5 millimeters wider. So it doesn't sound like much, but it makes a vast difference. Aside from that, I took some gravel from the gravel driveway and carted it over with the side-by-side and just created a gravel path into the party trailer, the meat shack, because after the eclipse weekend, we had like 2 feet of snow and it warmed up and everything melted, and I had like 10 people at the land and it just turned into a freaking mud pit. So I wanted to take care of that issue. So hopefully the gravel will set in and help with drainage and create a little bit of a firmer path. So that's what I did the past week. Had some fun on the side-by-side, got work done, and it's just it's been inspiring and therapeutic and cathartic, to say the least, to be able to tackle projects that are just making the land look nicer and more hospitable for when I do have friends up this summer to camp. I'm thinking about also getting a swing, just like from a swing set, and putting up a 2x6 in between 2 trees that hang against the river and making a nice little swing set that you can swing over the river, because I think that would be fun. So that's what's going on at the land. I don't know, people are asking where the cats are. They're inside right now. I'll go feed them at the end. I'm going to scroll back through here and just see if I missed some questions, comments, concerns. Casey asked, just asking, should you have the water quality checked in the frog pond? I mean, I have no intention of drinking it, and there's wildlife thriving in it. There's tons of frog eggs in there and already fully grown frogs. So I mean, if it's good enough for them, it's got to be somewhat clean. It won't be crystal clear water when I clean the side-by-side and the dirt bikes, but the bigger priority for me is just getting the mud off the bikes. If it doesn't look spotless when I'm done cleaning, that's not really a concern of mine. I just want to be able to get the mud and everything off the machines. Frank asked, did you get the trees ordered? I did. I just touched on that earlier, but they should be delivered tomorrow, and hopefully I'll transplant them on Saturday or Sunday and just hope for the best. Gonna have to do some digging. I'm going to put them on the right side of the property, adjacent to the Russian's property. So when I do build my home, my bedroom window will look out towards his land, and he has a beautiful kind of rock garden and zen space. And then I'll have fruit trees there, which will obviously take time to grow, but it'll be a nice little micro orchard. I don't know if I'm going to order any other fruit trees this year. If I have the time, I will. Maybe I'll transplant some at the end of fall. But I'm just trying to juggle a lot of different things right now, and time is of the essence, absolutely. Andrew asked, forgive me if you went over this before, but would you ever do some type of video or Skillshare type videos about either photography or building up your land? I don't know if you mean like giving instruction about how to shoot with cameras, but it could be a possibility sometime down the road. A lot of people have great ideas of what I should do with the land in terms of hobby stuff. Like some people suggested panning for gold and metal detecting and stuff of that nature. And these are all things that I would love to do, but it goes without saying I have an allotted amount of time when I'm up there, and the projects I want to get done are a bigger priority. So I'll save those tasks for when I'm a little bit older and have a little more time on my hands up there and feel a little bit more settled. I've just been thinking recently, like my goal is to have a really dialed in home, hopefully a 2-bay garage with a studio above, and just the property the way I want it by the time I'm 40 years old. So I'll be 34 in September. That gives me 6 years. I feel like at the pace that I'm moving and working, it should easily be attainable, especially with the motivation and drive I have to do it. I mean, all things considered, I got all my goals completed last year. Today I called 2 other well drilling companies just to get additional quotes to compare to the first quote I received. And if I squirrel my money away this summer, I think I will be able to get a well drilled in the fall. So that's exciting. Septic design is still in the works, waiting to hear back on that. They're dealing with the state and just creating a plan for that. An idea that I did come up with yesterday, which I've been dwelling on a lot, is building a stone wall along the road frontage. I transplanted a bunch of pine and white birch trees, or silver birch, right in front of the meat trailer along that part of the road. I did that about 2 weeks ago, and hopefully those will take root. But I've just been thinking, on the left side of my field, right in the woods right there, there's a whole old agricultural stone wall. And I know some people say you shouldn't mess with those old walls, but it's not really serving a purpose anymore. I mean, my neighbor that lives on the left of me, Ray, he's cool. He's got dogs. His dogs never come on my land. There's no real need to have an agricultural stone wall there. And so my thoughts are, it's a huge endeavor, but if I just maybe do a couple loads every time I'm up there, fill up that dump bin that I got for the back of the side-by-side and just load it with rocks and just slowly drop them along the road frontage, which is roughly about 270 feet long. By the end of the summer into the fall, I could have the workings of a nice stone wall, which I think, not only for security, but just looks alone would be so cool to drive up the road and look to your left and just see a beautiful stone wall that I put my blood, sweat, and tears into building. And, the pigs are pretty crafty, but who knows, maybe it'd be a deterrent if the pigs do get out again, because that was a shit show, and I'm still dealing with that. Like, I tried to mow the field the other day, the areas that hadn't got mowed last year because they were total mud pits, and they're so soft. It's all mud, and I was getting stuck with my mower, and it was definitely bringing back some emotions of anger and frustration. But shit happens, and I'm cool with the neighbors that happened with, and apparently it happens every year, but if it happens this year, all my other neighbors know they have free range to shoot any pigs on my land. So if I'm not around, hopefully we'll nip it in the bud, or just corral them off their property. I don't want to have to kill an animal, but I do understand and know that if it did happen again, the meat would get put to good use like it did this past summer. So hopefully we can avoid that issue. But yeah, that stone wall project is looming in the back of my mind, and I think it is something I'm going to start to tackle because I think that'll just be so cool. Let's see, I've got a little list of topics to talk about. Ernie's doing great. I don't know if it's the fact that I've had 2 to 3 weeks grounded here at home. Normally I'm traveling like almost every other week. Maybe it's my presence and that I'm around more, or maybe it's the fact that the catio's here, or it's just a matter of time progressing and Ernie getting settled into his comfort zone. But he played with the wand toy for the first time last week and last night. Normally he would run away from it. It's got the feathers on the end and he loves it now. So it's super cool to see him coming out of his shell, and it just makes me happy knowing that he's getting back to his normal self and he's feeling more comfortable in his living space. I've also seen him out on the catio. He won't go out if he sees me around and looking, but I've been working at my desk in the basement, and I've noticed him out on the catio just sitting on the shelf like Chester, just taking it all in. So it's super fulfilling to see him just making strides with his progress. And the bird feeder I set up outside the catio, I saw 2 cardinals yesterday morning and a cowbird, and I put a little birdhouse out there, so the cats have definitely got some free entertainment, even though I know Chester just wants to murder them all. So that's good. Ernie's doing good. I know some people are very persistent on saying I need to bring him back to the land, but I just don't think that's the right move. So I think we'll just give him time. I've already covered a bunch of things. I had a dentist appointment today, got my teeth cleaned, as I call it, my biannual barnacle blasting. I know many people hate the dentist, but I absolutely love the dentist. I look forward to the dentist getting a cleaning at least. Like, it is like a mouth massage. I love when they take the big hook and get behind your back molar and get under the gum and just get all the little crustaceous barnacles off your teeth. It was very satisfying, and I have a great rapport with my dental hygienist, Rhonda. She loves riding Harleys and is salt of the earth lady, and we always click, so that was nice to see her. That's totally unrelated to the land, but something to talk about. I'm sure many of you hate going to the dentist, but I like it, and I'm trying to keep on top of my mouth because last thing I want, I've had infections in my mouth where I had to get a wisdom tooth removed, and when you have mouth pain, it sucks. So just trying to keep myself healthy and on top of shit, so when I get old, I won't be beaten out of shape. James said to all the Justin Jenny fans, if you want to help your friend out, please don't skip the ads. That's how he gets paid. Yeah, I do appreciate that, James. I don't really make very much money off the ads and stuff right now because I don't really have that many viewers, but it all adds up. $5 from viewership does go towards paying for gas to drive up there and all the other expenses that are incurred on this journey. So it certainly is appreciated. I do feel like an ass when I have to put ads in here, but I feel like I work hard to provide good content for you guys. So if that's what's going to make me a little bit of cash, then I'd say it's worthwhile to sit through a 15-second ad to watch the journey. Jonesy said, by the way, love what you've done inside your shack, especially the books and bookshelves. Thoroughly enjoyed your video with your fun buds. You really do have some nice and fun friends. Yeah, I cherish my friends. I'm thankful to have a great group of friends. It's definitely, things have gotten weirder as I've gotten into my 30s. Like, some of my friends have had kids, and some of them are just caught up with adult life as life is. That's kind of what life is like when you grow up, and it becomes harder to make friends because everyone's so caught up in their pursuits and their day-to-day life and the hustle and bustle of capitalism and the 9-to-5 and providing for oneself. And Big Nick and Nick Hella, I didn't grow up with them. They weren't childhood friends, but, in the last 3 or 4 years, it's blossomed into some very potent and very personal and great relationships. And I'm thankful for those guys and just the willingness for them to come up there and put in work and camp out with me at the land and just be down for the cause. Like, you're nothing without your friends, and I always say it. I say, if it comes down to it, we'll end up in the foxhole together, and we'll be the only ones that can count on each other. So it's never lost on me, and I'm certainly grateful for the close relationships I have with people that share the same values and understanding and importance of enjoying life and knowing that experiences are all you really have at the end of the day. You can buy as much shit as you want and try and show off to people with material goods, but at the end of the day, if you don't have a close circle of friends, people to, lean on and support you and bounce ideas off of and just be there for you when shit hits the fan, or when you're at your highest moments, what's life if you don't have that? So I'm so deeply thankful for the relationships I've cultivated, and I think that's a huge part of who I am. And I've made many friends that I, don't stay in close contact with. That's definitely one of my downfalls. I don't call people super regularly if they're, not one of my super close friends, but they all know, just as I know, that, it could be 2 years without talking, but we can hop on a call or see each other, and it's like we never skipped a beat. And that's the beauty of good friends. It's the same for any of you guys. I'm sure you have many friends like that. So it's cool to see you guys appreciate that, and it always adds a new element when I have people on the land, especially those guys, because, they'll come up and help, and then they don't come back to the land for a month or 2 months or 2 weeks, and they get to see the jump in progression of everything I've done. And it's always nice to, get a metaphorical pat on the back from my buddies and an appreciation of the work that I put into it. And just the same from you guys, all of your positive words of encouragement, and just recognizing that I do bust my ass up there, and, I work hard. I don't eat food. I go up there and I grind, and I may not have all the time in the world, but I am highly productive with the time I do have. And it's not lost on me that you guys appreciate that. So I really do appreciate that. And I think that speaks to the fan base and the community that we've developed with this YouTube channel and series. It's a lot of very understanding, intelligent, and just compassionate people that are highly supportive. And I think for a lot of people, I think everyone wants to do this to some degree or another. You might be a city slicker and you have no interest in living out in the woods or doing the shit I'm doing. But I think the vast majority of us have a deep appreciation for homesteading and settling a piece of land, because it is in our DNA to some extent. We as humans, that before we lived in a society that we do, and in modern civilization, life was, building a shelter for yourself, providing food and living. And there wasn't, I would wager a guess that there wasn't as much anxiety in those times, because people didn't have time to think about the future as much, or their daily bullshit and their problems. They were living more so in the now. It was, what food are we going to eat tonight? We need to get wood in the fireplace to stay warm. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there was anxiety to a great deal back then because people were just trying to survive. But part of me thinks that living a more simplistic life off the land is a solution, or maybe a way to more mental peace and clarity. And it is so very true for me when I go there, because I have limited cell service. I can make calls, I can get text, but I cannot be on social media, and I am on my phone far too much. It's a symptom of the times and just my own addiction, which, it's funny because when cell phones and iPhones became prominent, it was mostly the younger generation that was sucked into them. And, we'd always get chirped by my dad or older folks. And now my dad is just as bad as any young person. And I know the same goes for many elderly people, which isn't anything to feel bad about. There's a never ending source of entertainment and videos and YouTube and Facebook. And if you want to just lay in bed and get lost on the internet all day, you can very easily do that. So it further reinforces the beauty of working the land. And my choice to buy a piece of land And I mean, now more than ever, I know it's not just Vermont, but there's just so much talk about the elimination of the middle class. Like, there's such a divide between wealth and poverty these days. And I would say I'd fall into the middle class if there is still a middle class. I have a good job. Fortunately, I have great parents. A lot of people, even though I do pay my dad $900 in rent, I could be paying vastly more. I could be paying utilities. I could be paying a lot more. So to have a good family structure and people to depend on, that's not lost on me. And I certainly do not take it for granted. I know there's people that if they get, evicted or they run short on rent, they're out on the streets or they have to find, an alternative. And I'm so thankful that I have a great relationship with my parents and I can live with my father and coexist with him and, look out for one another. And we have each other's backs. I'm never afraid to talk to him about what I'm going through or what he's experiencing in life. And, that's therapy to some degree, to be able to have somebody to talk to. Nobody should be afraid to share what they're going through. And obviously on a public forum such as this, I had a pretty tough winter and was going through, I always get seasonally depressed, but this past year, the breakup with Hannah paired with the lack of sunlight through January and just traveling a lot for work and not being able to be up at the land because there's no demo work to do, it really did take a toll on me. So I'm definitely thankful to have the resources I do have. But back to the broader topic of, it's starting to become virtually impossible for young people my age to, build a life for themselves and build a nest egg. I make great money and even I am doing what I can to get by. Like, there's people that are working 9 to 5s and fast food restaurants and whatever jobs, and they're barely making enough money to pay rent, put food on the table, and let alone if they have kids too. It's like, how are you ever supposed to get ahead? Like, I hate to say it, but the state of America and I know, we can compare to other countries, but I just don't feel like we're in a good place as a country, and the older generation, I see a lot of comments on here that people appreciate seeing someone my age that's not afraid to work. And I would say, many people in my generation are cut from the same cloth as me, and they are willing to put in the work and make sacrifices to get ahead in this life. But shit's just not the same. Food is so expensive. Everything is so expensive. Land is so expensive. And, after the COVID epidemic, everyone that does have money and resources available has realized, they might not have a fucking clue how to survive, but they want to have a getaway. And Vermont is one of those places. We're close to Boston, New York City, these states that are metropolis based and are much more vastly populated. And there's people that can work from home because that became more acceptable during COVID. And, I can't tell you the amount of people that I've sat on the chairlift with at J Peak that are like, oh, I bought a house up here. I'm from New Jersey. We moved up during the pandemic. And I'm not going to hate, at the end of the day, I do have a sort of local mindset. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm a gringo. I am a white man. I have no ownership or claim to Vermont any more so than any of these other people. The only people that truly own this land were the Native American, Iroquois, and Abenaki tribes. So, I never try and get too much of an attitude like, oh, why the fuck did you move to Vermont? You're not a real Vermonter. Like, I think the biggest thing is, and it's no different whether you're in Texas or Montana, like, people in Montana are getting overrun with people from California, and same with Texas, is if you move somewhere, you moved there for a reason because you either appreciated the way of life there or, the tranquility of a state or the laws that it does have. So if you move somewhere, don't try and change the way shit is to match the place you moved from, like, that's why I bought land in the middle of nowhere. I want to be able to shoot guns and ride dirt bikes and, fucking blast some fireworks sometime and have fun. And I don't need somebody who doesn't understand, the boonies to be like, hey, you're causing noise pollution, or you shouldn't hunt on your land, or I don't like guns. Well, you know what? That's fair. You're entitled to your opinion, and I respect all of your beliefs. But don't try and change the way a place is, because that's what made it so special. And Vermont very much falls into that category of, a truly unique place. And I hate to say it, but politics wise, the state is just, it's on a downward trajectory. Like, they just, last year they passed a huge new property tax thing that's jacking everyone's property taxes up. And then Vermont is like very, like, I appreciate the level of nature conservation that our state has. Like, we don't salt the roads as much as New Hampshire to preserve the river systems and stuff of that nature. And I really do appreciate that, because wildlife and nature is everything to me. But, you know, when you make it impossible for people to build on a piece of land because there's a 100-foot stretch of what is considered wetland, it's just like they're making it very, very hard for people. And yeah, now, you know, before I bought this land during COVID, I tried to buy a condo, and it was just a never-ending battle of me putting in offers and then getting outbid by cash offers that were 20 to 40K over. And it's like, I just had to accept that that is the name of the game now. And that ultimately led to me buying the land. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise. You know, I went back to the drawing board and realized, you know, I need to just buy the dream piece of land and build the dream house. And it's, you know, I find solace in knowing that I'm on my way. Like, there's people that are, you know, they're scared. They don't think they'll ever be able to purchase a home in this state. And I'm just like, there's nothing that is going to stop me from building a house, and I'm going to build it with zero debt. And it is going to be the most gratifying feeling when I'm sitting in a home that is fully powered by solar electricity, and I have my own well drilled, and I don't depend on anyone, and it is all paid for. And then, you know, after that, it's just a matter of paying for food and saving money for, as I've said before, potentially buying a small apartment in Europe somewhere or something of that nature. So we're in interesting times here in the US especially. I know everywhere in the world is getting pretty wild, but it's certainly daunting and very much discouraging for many people in my generation, knowing that, you know, the boomers and the prior generations, they really were the last generations that got to live the true American dream, when you could affordably buy a home and support a family and raise children and be able to put food on the table without being a slave to capitalism and the 9-to-5 work life. So it's interesting, and I think it's like I said, it gives me, I don't want to say confidence, but it's reassuring for me to know that I am on a good trajectory, and I am not afraid to work and bust my ass to build a nest egg for myself. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how long it actually takes to get a home built and all of my utilities in place. But make no mistake, it will happen. And it will be very sweet and just so gratifying when that all comes into play. And the journey is half of the process. You know, you've got to enjoy the process and trust the process. And I'm a firm believer in nothing good happens overnight, and I'm even a bigger believer in manifestation. If you want something truly bad enough, visualize it on a day-to-day basis. And if it's something that's constantly in your mind, you will make that happen if you're willing to put the work in. And that would be my recommendation for anyone that has a goal, is constantly think about it and think about ways you can make it happen. Sorry, I just went on a long rant, so I'm going to scroll up and see if I missed anything. Paul Hill, 20-pound donation from the UK. I greatly appreciate you. It's awesome. All census firing said it takes around 3 to 4 months for a feral cat to settle in. Well, that pretty much adds up with the timeline of Ernie, so that's good. Tammy said, as we grow older, you find who real friends are. They are appreciated much more. There are acquaintances, and then there are true friendships. And yeah, I just to touch back on the friends thing, you know, I have a lot of friends that I grew up with, and they'll always be my best friends, and I'll always have a deep love for them. And, you know, they're just a call away, and I'm just a call away, and I'll always have their back no matter what, through thick and thin. But, you know, I've realized even just the last 2 years that it's very much a two-way street with relationships. And there's a lot of people that I've pursued to maintain in my circle and keep in my, you know, my everyday life. and the effort is not it's not given on the other side of things. And I've just realized as you get older, I want to surround myself with people that share the same perspective and goals and motivation. You know, I have too little time to dwell on the past or spend with people that aren't inspired to do something with their life. I mean, this life is so fucking short, and I'm still only 34, but I know, you know, these years roll faster and faster. Like, my birthday's already this year. We're already through winter. I'm already scheduling out my entire summer, which is mind-boggling because summer is so short and sweet in Vermont, and just knowing I have a small window to do what I want to do. So I think a big lesson I've learned in the last couple of years is, you know, put energy forth into relationships that are symbiotic and benefit both parties, and, you know, help each other grow as individuals. I'm not on this planet to fester and be stagnant. I want to become the best person I can. I want to get better at being a man of my word. I want to learn skills. Like, that's the, as I've said many times before, that's the whole beauty of this land is I want to learn how to build. I want to know masonry. I want to be able to, if you call me and you bought a piece of land and you're one of my best friends and you want to build a cabin, I'm your guy. I've done it. I can help you frame a house. I can help you pour a concrete slab. I can do all that shit. And learning is life. I mean, if you're not expanding your knowledge, what are you doing? And that's not, no shade to people that are in a rut. I've been in a rut many times, but this whole land ownership thing has just lit a fire under my ass to pursue new skill sets and really push my brain and both my body physically to learn new skills and try and become the most adept individual I can. And the same thing goes for the guns. You know, people are like, why do you have guns? Well, obviously there's the self-protection element, but I just like learning things that take a, you know, a great level of skill to master. And there's a lot of people that own firearms and they don't have a damn clue how to use them properly. And I'm like, if I'm going to own something, I want to be the best at it I can. And you'll see the progression. I mean, I put shooting in some of the episodes, me drawing from a concealed appendix carry and shooting. And, you know, when I first started doing that, it was terrifying. I've got a loaded gun pointed at my, you know, my pecker. And, you know, you're learning how to pull out a firearm from under your shirt and put shots on target. And that's just a great example of, you know, repetition creates perfection or, you know, adept level skills. And, you know, that, carpentry, farming, taking care of cats, just everything. I want to get better at anything that I choose to pursue in this life. And I hope other people can channel that same energy because, as the saying goes, knowledge is power. And I'm a firm believer in that. That was quite the long-winded rant. Let's keep going up here. Minx asked, did you get good eclipse footage? I got some incredible eclipse footage. I'll have to dig into that and make a little short from it sooner than later. So hopefully I can share some of that with you guys. Actually, an update. I counted through all the episodes. The next episode is me, Mike Morrissey, with a $20 donation. I love you, brother. Love you so much. That's one of my best friends from South Boston. He actually came up for the eclipse, and I finally got to share the land with him, and he's been one of my day one supporters even before I met him, so that was super fulfilling. But what was I just talking about? Oh, I already forgot. God, my brain. Oh, yeah, the upcoming episode. So next episode is me setting up solar panels on a bunch of my trail cameras, which is cool just for anyone that wants to learn about using trail cameras. I use the Tacticam Reveals, and then it was when I bought my new 9mm, which is no longer new, but at the time it was new, and I do some shooting with that and just talk about guns and just a bit of everything. So it'll be a good episode, and then that will put us 7 episodes away from the last episode of the season, which was on Christmas Day when I rescued Ernie. And I'm just so excited to share that. It's kind of going to be like the Chester story all over again, but with a different vibe, just because Ernie was not the same as Chester, and I actually had to physically trap him in a trap. So I can't wait to share that for you guys. It'll give you a better idea of the efforts that I made to rescue Ernie and give him a safe home. And then after that episode, I will hopefully put together an Otter Camp Season 1 recap that will have a very powerful song that I've been sitting on for 2 years now. I've been just dreaming of making an incredible video to it. And I might implement some of my own voiceover, no Alan Watts or anything of that, just my own recording of some of my thoughts and perspective on working the land the last year. So that'll be super exciting to share with you guys, and that will kick off the beginning of season 2 of Otter Camp, which for me, I'm considering the seasons as the beginning of a new year. So that will be pretty cool. And yeah, we're catching up to current time. So that's why I'm busting my butt to film as many episodes as I can. Frank asked, when is the anniversary of the purchase of the land? You know, I don't even remember the exact day I closed on the land. I think it was middle of February. I need to, I'm going to have to go back through the episodes and see when that was. But yeah, we surpassed a year in either early February or late February. And then Chester's Gotcha Day was in the end of March. So it's been more than a full year. And I actually have been thinking about it lately. It's such a trip because last year I had a great degree of anxiety pursuing this land. Like I made my initial offer for $50,000 and it didn't work out. And you know, it's like anything in life. You find the next apartment you want to rent or the home you want to buy, and you get your heart set on it. And there's so many times where you have to tread lightly, because it's so easy to get your hopes up and then be met with disappointment. And I'll tell you what, I manifested the purchase of that land so intensely. Like, it consumed me for 2.5 months. I wrote a letter to Richard's sister, who was the one who inherited the land, just explaining how I'd be a great steward for it and how I was the best viable candidate to sell it to. And that didn't push them over the edge, and they wanted more money. And I literally gave them my entire savings, $71,000, except for like money that I have in my 401k. And I had so much anxiety last year because I just wanted it so bad, and I didn't want it to slip through my fingertips. And I made it happen, and that was super rewarding. And then I was filled with even more anxiety once I did buy it, because, you know, I didn't have a good feel for the people that were on my road, and there was so much trash, and I had trail cameras, and I'd see my neighbors like on the land, but they were all doing stuff with good intention. It was nothing shady, but I put up all those trespassing signs in the first episode, and they were getting blown and ripped off trees. And initially I thought it was, you know, one of my neighbors like not liking my presence or showing up in the manner I did and posting the land. And then later come to realize there's like 50-mile-per-hour winds that cut across my field and my land, and it was in fact wind that was ripping the signs down. And there's just getting settled in there. I was definitely, you know, I was pretty worried about theft and other things. And now all my neighbors know me. They like me. They keep an eye on my property, and they respect me after they saw the hard work that I was willing to put forth to clean up all that garbage and just bullshit left behind. And so I'm just a lot more at peace overall with this whole journey, and I'm thankful for that. And sometimes I have to remind myself of the burdens I once carried and the things that once did give me anxiety and triggered me. Big risk, big reward. Exactly, Dragon. So yeah, everything is good. I don't think I really have anything else to talk about. We're about to reach an hour. I don't know if anyone has any questions. I've kind of just been blabbing this whole live, but I feel like I've touched on some good talking points. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions for me? I know you guys want to see the cats. Let me go see if we can get down to the cats and bring this stuff downstairs. It's getting chilly out. Temperature drops quickly here, that's for sure. Oh, here's Joey. We're on live. Say hi. Hi, Chest. You want dinner? Dog food initiation. Chester. Here's Ernie. Here, let me put my stuff down and then I'll show you guys the kitty cats. Here's the chest I brought back from the land. There's Chester. He's been rubbing up on me the last hour waiting for Daddy's feed him. And there's the little ironworm. Yeah, he's so cute. Such a good boy. I bet you. Yeah, he's a good boy, Ernie. Yeah. Oh, so cute. Such a good boy. Oh, Jesus, Chester. Almost tripped me. Chester is locked and loaded, ready for food. All right, let's get these little meat rats sorted out. You guys can get the weekly Chester feed, literally. The live feed of the Chesteroni. Still doing fancy feast. I wanted to continue the raw food diet, but I just travel so much. I don't want to have to make my dad dig through raw meat and make it more difficult to keep these guys satiated when I'm gone. So we're still doing the old fancy. And I've been putting this in every once in a while to help with Chester's hairballs. And I showed this last week, but these multivitamin things with lysine in them, I put those in every once in a while and just crumble them up so they can get all their fish oils and stuff for their fur. Is it weird that sometimes I prepare the cat pate and I'm like, that kind of looks good? Maybe it's because I like steak tartare and raw meat. Don't worry, I'm not going to eat cat food. Chester, where are you? Ernie's waiting at the door. Chester's definitely losing his fur. You can see it behind his back legs. Go, 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 go. Show us the jolly pants. Yeah, there's the booty. Go, 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 go. Go. There you go. I gotta get Ernie's food down so Chester doesn't take him out when he finishes his. You ready, Ern? Oh, you're so cute. Let's put it under here so Chester can't get to it. Yeah, he's a good boy. He's a good boy. Ernie's such a sweet little soul. Yes, Chester, the king. Yeah, he is overdue for a brushing. I gave him one the other day. He doesn't have any mats, though. He's doing good. No knots. What's that? Tammy just asked how she can donate something for the cats. I have an Amazon wish list linked on my channel's info and also on all the Otter Camp episodes. If you go down in the info for the episode, Amazon wish list, and there should be some cat food on there and some other stuff. And everyone that has donated stuff, I greatly appreciate. Auntie Carol got the boys some new beds, which they've been loving. Definitely got plenty of beds, but food's always helpful. And I do bring wet food up to the land and dry food to feed the remaining outdoor cats up there. What do you think, buddy? One of my favorite things that Chester does is when he's done eating, he just stands there and looks all evil and licks his paws like he's plotting some nefarious plan. You've been eating dry food, haven't you? You're not finishing your meal. Oh, you're so cute. Look at that. Yeah, you can see he's losing his fur right here. He's definitely getting streamlined. Everyone used to comment that he's fat, but he's definitely not fat. He's a healthy cat who's extremely agile. He can jump up. This tail, though, this tail is everything. Yeah, he's such a good boy. Look at the booty. Now he's gonna go watch his brother eat and probably make him nervous. Let's see if I can get the paw licking. Licking his lips like a little evil man. See you, dragon. Love you, buddy. Anywho, everything's good here, so just making sure there's no more questions. Casey said, just noticed the new stash. I just buzzed it, but it's hard to keep this thing in check. I'm lucky they let me back in after I came back from Mexico, honestly. I've had a couple people tell me I look Mexican. Well, I greatly appreciate everyone watching, everyone who donated. It's not lost on me. I know, like I said before, making money costs time, and that's the most valuable commodity, so that is certainly not lost on me. And sorry, I'm just looking at comments and talking. Oh, Alex Shea. Alex is one of my buddies from high school who I used to hang out with, and I miss. We used to play airsoft in the woods and shoot each other with plastic BBs and get all tactical. Alex asked how I backpacked Europe when I was a junior in high school for 3 months with two of my best friends, and he asked how that may have shaped my life. And honestly, I wouldn't be anywhere I am today if I didn't take that trip. Travel has been the answer for everything for me. When I had no direction or path, I just dedicated myself to seeing new places in the world, and coming back from those trips inspired me greatly. And I wouldn't have ever moved to California if I didn't backpack Europe, because I met a friend there who I moved in with, and wouldn't have gotten a job for GoPro, and yeah, I just wouldn't be where I am today. So the travel in high school and everything thereafter has been massively crucial to my development as a human. That's a good question, Alex. I miss you, brother. Hopefully you didn't sign off before I answered that. Christine Diane asked, how often are you treated by F-35 flyovers? At least once to 2 times a day. Well, I think that's going to call it, folks. Oh, the catio. One last catio. They won't. Chester, come here. You want to come out? Come on. Chester loved the catio. Yeah, there we go. I love it. He stands there and his little butt, his tail wags. He's so cute. Catio's good. I haven't really added anything, but I'm just happy it's in place. The cats have been loving it. Ernie's been out here. Chester loves sitting right here, and he also likes sitting right here. It's funny too, you can see his hair on everything. He's definitely shedding. I love when him and Ernie climb up this. Good boy. Yeah, he's a good boy. And the coolest part was I used all wood from my land. I didn't have to buy any lumber. All this is salvaged. So thanks, Richard. Anyway, that's going to call it. I appreciate you guys, and I hope everyone has a great weekend. I will be traveling next week, so I'm not entirely sure I'll be able to go live, but if I do, there won't be any kitties, but I'll probably have some stuff to talk about. And yeah, hopefully the pressure washer works good tomorrow and the shelves are cool, and we'll just keep plugging away until we get a paradise compound build. But until then, stay tuned. I've got a really cute little video I'm posting tomorrow of the cats, and yeah, sending love to everybody, and I appreciate you guys. Have a great day.